You know what an earworm is? An earworm is when you can get a song or a jingle in your mind, and then once it's finished, it doesn't go away. Inside your mind, you just keep with it over and over and over, and it just continues to play to the point where it almost drives you crazy. And we've all had that happen at some time or another, but eventually something kind of takes you and jogs you out of it, and you get distracted with something else and you move on. Well, if you will, we can say that a narcissist can put some serious types of earworms in you, in the sense that they have their pet phrases or ideas or notions that they want to put on the inside of your mind, and they want to reinforce that over and over. And so as time passes, whether it's a week or a month or years or even decades, those kinds of messages can reverberate in your mind. For example, they may just have a simple message that says there's something very wrong about you, or you just need to shut up, or you're unstable, or I wish that people knew you the same way I know you because I know they would all be disappointed, or you're not a likable person, or if I become angry, it's because you keep doing things that mess up relationships. You don't know how to do relationships well. And you can have those kinds of messages, and inside your mind, it's like, well, I know that's not exactly the way I need to be thinking. I wish I could get it out of my mind, but it just stays on the inside. But unlike an earworm, these kinds of messages will actually have a great impact on the way that you do life with many people beyond just that narcissistic person, and it can lead you down a path towards ineffectiveness. Now, one of the ways we know that these earworms or these repetitive thoughts remain on the inside of you is by the way you respond to it. For example, if you find yourself being repeatedly argumentative towards that narcissist, it implies you're still in the game. It's like, but I've got to convince you to think differently, and then I'll be able to be okay, and then I can dislodge the thought. And they're never going to cooperate with that. Or it may be in a similar vein that you feel the need to justify yourself over and over and over. How many times have you thought, well, I hate having to explain myself, but they just don't understand me. So you just kind of jump in there, and the next explanation is not likely to be the one that breaks through. So that's a wasted effort. Perhaps you withdraw socially. You may go into a shutdown mode and start living with a lot of passive aggressiveness that's a part of your life. It could be that you just allow yourself to live with an extra amount of shame and guilt that narcissist has put on the inside of you, and certainly that's not something you need to do. Now, I want you to understand a couple of things about where the narcissist is coming from, and then I want to see if we can take a look at your resolve as you respond to something like this. What does it tell us about a person, and I'm thinking about the narcissist, who feels a very strong need to continue to send belittling and condescending messages to someone else in order to elevate themselves? What does that tell us about them? And it tells me that person feels very weak on the inside. They don't have any of their own natural sense of well-being to draw upon. Their well-being has to come by finding you to be beneath them. We call this narcissistic supply. It's kind of like you become food to their emotional well-being and their emotional sense of steadiness. They have to have you in a down position. Really, when you look at that, it's like that's no way to build your own approach toward life. It's no way to elevate yourself so that you can walk away saying, yeah, I like the way I do things around here. I belittle people, and that makes me feel really good about life. But that's what they do, and I want you to see that's a demented way of thinking. And then even more so, I want you to understand something that's rather pitiable if it weren't such a mean-spirited kind of a thought, and that is, narcissists like humiliating you. That's a pretty sad thought. I would let that soak in. The narcissist likes to humiliate you. Now, the best way I can get you to see this is, it may have been that in some of the media kinds of things we have in front of us, and you know I've spoken about this in some of my other videos, whether it's movies or television programs or video games, things like that, there's a lot of humiliation that goes on. You know, even the good guys, so to speak, will humiliate the bad guys, and you, the viewer, can say, yeah, that's the way it ought to be, and you cheer them on. Whoa, wait a minute. I don't feel like cheering when I see anyone humiliating someone else, but we're taught that you need to be the victor and you need to just vanquish that other individual. You see, that's how the narcissist thinks toward you. If they say something that's harsh or rejecting and they notice that you slump down and it really gets to you, it's like, ooh, I feel so good with that. I just won a victory. That's a sad way to live. And I certainly, as a recipient of those kind of messages from someone, would think, you know, if that's how you get your jollies, thanks but no thanks, I'm not in that. So what I want to do is I want you to begin thinking in terms of your response to that narcissist and that earworm that they want to put on the inside of you. And let's see if we can shift and go into a different way of thinking. Let's keep in mind, a narcissist's criticism does not have to break you. A narcissist's anger does not have to break you. A narcissist's hatred, contempt does not have to break you. The narcissist's lack of understanding does not have to break you. The narcissist's misguided haughtiness does not have to break you. A narcissist's use of shame does not have to break you. All of those things that I'm mentioning right now tell us much, much more about what's going on inside that person than it says anything about who you are. Keep in mind, when that person feels the need to keep putting those kinds of messages in the inside, they're trying to elevate themselves, and you're not required to sing their song, if you will, and let it just remain on the inside of your brain over and over and over. You see, there's another question that I want you to ponder as we consider how to respond to that voice that they keep on the inside of your mind. And that question is, what do you think about you? See, that's the better question. The narcissist, as I've just mentioned, they have a very strong self-serving motive in the way that they keep you in a demeaned kind of way. But what do you believe about you? Now, there are some core beliefs, some basic guiding thoughts that I'm hoping that you can anchor down in. And these are thoughts that I hold dearly, and I want you to be able to hold dearly. And I'm hoping that they can speak into you in a way so that you respond to that narcissistic voice in a much different kind of way. Now, the first thought I want you to know, and hear me fully on this one, you are lovable. You were made to give and receive love. On the first day of life, you were already lovable then, and you needed to have people that through the years would train you to know that and understand that. Now, therein lies part of the problem, because sometimes people don't do a very good job in saying, yes, I know that you have a lovable nature on the inside, and let me help you out. There are times when people will do a poor job of that, but let's go back to the basic. You are lovable. And I hope that you can learn to love yourself and learn to love the fact that you have that internal worth and value that goes right along with it. Now, a second thought, and that is, you're not required to earn someone else's approval. If you already know that you're lovable and you have an innate worth and value, and then someone, kind of like a trainer in the zoo, sticks a hoop in front of him and says, here, jump through that and maybe we'll talk about acceptance. No, you're not an animal in the zoo. You don't have to jump through anyone's hoop so that you can gain their acceptance. Or a third thought, and that is, even when you err, you can still upright yourself and grow. One of the things that narcissists love to do is to take your mistakes or your blunders or your miscalculations, and like that earworm, they're going to park on it and just keep going back to that over and over and over. Yeah, but look at this, and remember how you did that wrong, and don't you know that that's something you don't want anybody else to know about? Those kind of things. Well, even as you have erred, and who among us has not? We all make mistakes. You can still upright yourself and grow. And in fact, I'll even double down on that and say you typically grow even more so after you have had your mistakes, and you can look at it for what it is. And then a fourth thought, and this is huge again. Your life has meaning. And the meaning goes beyond just being in this competitive way of thinking that the narcissist wants to pull you into. Your meaning comes from knowing that you are a lovable person and that you can speak goodness and decency into other individuals. You know, in my other channel that I have, the Dr. Les Carter, I've got a little notation in there. DRC, Dr. C, stands for dignity, respect, civility. That's something that you deserve in your life, and I hope that you can become a giver of that in the lives of others. And then, how about this last one? No one, and let me underscore, no one has the right to take your worth and value away from you. I hope that that one soaks in too. The narcissists, they want to get inside your mind with all of these negative messages, and they want to stay with that negative message until it just gets drilled inside your mind. You know what? That's on them. That tells me that that person is coming from a very troubled place. You don't have to be their narcissistic supply. I want you to learn how to think differently and in a healthy way, separate and distinct from them. And in doing so, that's how you get that voice, that earworm out of your mind and see it for what it is. And what it is it's the message of someone who's a troubled soul, and that's not something you're required to have to anchor down on. Now, I do hope that you find value in videos such as this. These videos that I'm doing, they're a passion for me because all my career, I've been working with people who have a need to make adjustments in their own personal life. And you know, I'm in a growth mode myself. I can't help somebody else grow if I'm not growing. And so I'm hoping that these videos are an assistance with you as you're in your growth mode. We're all interconnected. We're all in this together. Now, beneath the video, you're going to see a subscribe button. I want you to hit that if you haven't already, and we'll keep you apprised when more videos come up. And also beneath the video, you'll see some links to some online workshops and books and online counseling. And if you need to avail yourself to those kinds of things, I would encourage you to do so. Just know that I'm honored that you would have me along on your journey. Now, having said all of that, I shall see you next time.